We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Alrighty. There still has not been any big name free agent signings by the Houston Astros, and that's to be expected. There's been a few here and there, but nothing big going on right now. But the winter meetings were supposed to start tomorrow, but I believe it's all going to be virtual, and you can't really sit down and have that drink with the other GMs to really get a feel for what they're willing to trade. And that's a shame, but during the pandemic, you have to kind of make your adjustments, and this is what the adjustments they made. But they're still, I'm sure, going to be having some type of winter meetings, or just they may just be contacting each other. But overall, we're probably in for a very slow winter meeting, no, not winter meetings, but off season in general, just because of everything that's going on. And don't forget, you could get Locked on the Astros on the podcast app Himalaya, as well as Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And when you get in car, tell your smart device to play the podcast Locked on Astros. All right, so we've been trolled by Dodgers fans. We've been trolled by Yankees fans. We've been trolled by every type of fan out there, even some guy, was it Congress or something, was making some type
Yes.
of comment about this. So
Gase, yeah.
now we're talking about a cartoon throwing some shade at the Houston Astros. Brett, go ahead and tell us a little bit about this.
Well, this was excellent. I actually don't watch this show. So there you go. I'm not giving a free plug to Family Guy. But apparently on their I guess preview for their upcoming week is literally it's a guy saying on the next ESPN 30 for 30, the Houston Astros cheating scandal. He's like, apparently they were banging a trash can. They couldn't get any players to talk. And as they pan the like the team, like they're sitting there
Oscar
for a
Grouch is there.
photo. Yeah, Oscar the Grouch is the guy that they basically got to talk. And like someone immediately was like, hey, leave Orbit alone. And I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I believe doesn't Seth MacFarlane, isn't he the creator, like all the voices of that show? I
Yes.
mean, the guy's a comedic genius. He doesn't like shy away from making fun of anybody. Like if this was the Yankees or anybody else in our shoes or the Red Sox. Oh wait, he hasn't mentioned the Red Sox. That's weird.
Hey,
Um, I'm just saying. But I don't know. I may actually tune in because if they make it anything about that, I think it'd be hilarious. Maybe it's just a little cut advertisement, like a little cut scene, but it definitely piqued my interest for sure.
Yeah, and I just love the way they panned over. They had the stars and it said Houston on them, but none of them looked like any of the actual Astros. It was just like a whole bunch of, like, all the coaches looked like a bunch of white dudes, and I'm like, that does not represent the team. But anyway, so let's go and move on from the Family Guy, and that is a funny show. I have watched a few episodes of it, but not. When I'm watching it, I feel like I'm watching a cartoon, and I feel like I'm in high school all over again, and I'm trying to get away from high school. But definitely, we're having to talk a little bit about some stuff that is kind of a big deal this time of year, and this is the Fangraphs. Every year, they come up with the Zips projections, and people literally wait well, I guess for a whole month for these projections. And some of these are like, oh yeah, that's realistic. Some of this is like, yeah, that I don't see that happening. But the thing that really piqued my interest here is, I mean, I knew this, you knew this, everybody knows this, but it just sucks when you actually put it from pen to paper. So this is the Astros outfield for 2021. Kyle Tucker in right field with a 4.1 WAR. Miles Straw in center field with a 1.5 WAR. And then Chaz McCormick or Ronnie Dawson with a negative 0.2 WAR. Yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
scary. That's really kind of scary to me.
Yeah. So when when he says projected, this is projected if the Astros don't go out
Oh
and
yeah, I
get
know.
someone like JBJ. No, I'm just making sure people know that we're not like going, oh, this is where we're going. We're just saying these are the realistic, these are the people they have. So this is who they're going with, who would man those if they don't get a left fielder, if they don't get Brantley, if they don't sign someone in the center field. I want Kevin Pillar out there if we don't get anybody else, if we can't get Jackie Bradley Jr. And but yeah, it would be kind of scary, Eric. I don't and it's not a knock against Straw. It's not a knock against McCormick or Dawson, but it's who they would be replacing. It's the bar is so high with Brantley out there with his bat, obviously. Springer out there with his glove and his bat. So anytime you take, I, I would say generational talents. I mean, and people may say, "Oh my gosh, you're going a little too far," but I think these guys they are unlike so many other players. And then you replace them with these young, really unproven guys for the most part. It's just a huge drop off. And it's just like, wow, like that is something that realistically could happen. But tell the people what you noticed about the numbers for Miles Straw. Now, this is Miles Straw, everyday center fielder for the Astros, not Miles Straw platooning and getting a random pinch running spot. What are they predicting he'll get if he plays a full season in center field?
Well, they're saying he's going to bat 253 with a 640 something OPS. But this is what's kind of intriguing about his projection. I'm have to scroll up here because they do them two separate things. But Miles Straw in 478 at bats, he's going to have 2 homers, 28 RBIs, 43 walks, 94 strikeouts, and 32 stolen bases to lead the team. That is something that hopefully happens, but will he get enough playing time? And if the Astros go out and bring back Michael Brantley, Michael Brantley would be the left fielder. So unless the Astros go out and get a David Dahl or somebody like that who could play center field for you every day, Miles Straw is your center fielder.
You know who they have not even figured in this entire thing, and they wouldn't because he's not on the team, is Pedro Leon, the Cuban kid that they believe is supposed to make a center, uh, to make a mid-season, I almost said center season, a mid-season call-up. If things go according to plan, they sign him in January. He progresses the way they believe he can. It very much could be that if they stick with Miles Straw and they don't get anybody in the center field, I think Pedro Leon easily takes over, splits time, or does something to prove his worth because they have a lot of stock in this kid.
So who do you think will hit the most homers on this team this year, according to
Oh, I
Fangraphs?
according to Fangraphs, they think it will be Alex Bregman. I personally think that's wrong, and I think it will be Jordan Alvarez. To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
think Jordan Alvarez hits. I'm going to say 40 plus home runs. I'm gonna go out on a big limb. I think he's going to have a great season. I mean, just with the progression. Someone asked me, like, how are his knees? I don't know. I haven't talked to his knees lately. I'm sure they're fine, but I digress. But the thing is, with his workout, with his progression, everything that we've been told, that he's progressing along a lot faster, and he's young. And that's what people don't realize is he's very, very young. And even though he had this surgery, the younger you are, the faster your body recoups and recovers. And so he has age on his side. I think Alex Bregman does hit a lot of home runs this year, but I think you also got to think about Kyle Tucker. And I mean, you get Jordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker are your power guys, period. I know Altuve will probably hit 20 plus because he usually does, but your 2 power guys, I think, in the lineup, your primo power home run hitters are Tucker and Alvarez. Obviously, Bregman's up there, but I look for Tucker and Alvarez to basically be 1 and 1A throughout the entire season.
Okay. All right. I can agree with that. And I think that we're going to be talking a lot about Alex Bregman this year, especially with him coming back. And also, he did recently get married. And this is something that when you look at Alex Bregman, you're like, yeah, he seems like a beer type of guy. He seems like a uh, probably open bar type of wedding. So what type of beer should Alex Bregman have provided at his wedding?
All right. Well, here's the thing. Locked on Astros, Eric has made an offseason acquisition. We decided to tender a contract with Belching Beaver Brewery. The brewery was created for a desire to make great beer and have damn good times. They launched in 2012, Eric. Theirs is an award-winning craft beer, while also being whimsical and fun to inspire good times to be had by all. They have partnered with the Deftones, the one and only Deftones, to create Phantom Bride, named after the ethereal song by the one and only Deftones. Phantom Bride IPA is a blend of Amarillo, Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic hops, delectably balanced for the perfectly drinkable mix of citrus and hoppy goodness. A truly original Deftones and Belching Beaver collaboration envisioned by Chino Moreno himself and skillfully crafted by Thomas Peters. Sit back and put your headphones on and drink away. And before you go, listen to this. They've expanded to Texas. This month, they're coming to Texas. And by the spring, they will be in Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. Go to their website, belchingbeaver.com, and check out their amazing varieties. And go have a damn good time.
Alrighty. So after you drink all that beer, you might just kind of feel like you need to eat something. So how about like a Built Bar?
Yes, get the white chocolate cookies and cream Built Bar. It's a holiday flavor. I'm so excited. I had one today. I only had one. I didn't want to spoil myself with two on a Monday, but it was amazing. It was the perfect pick me up. Things were kind of going slow this morning. I grabbed the Built Bar. I slammed that with my water. It was phenomenal. It was under 200 calories, 17 grams of protein, only 5 net carbs, only 5. I mean, this is the bomb.com. Okay. This is it. Basically take all of the protein bars and just put them off to the side and grab Built Bar. Invest in Built Bar. Go buy you not one, two, but buy 3 boxes. I don't care. But if you use the code Locked On, you'll get 20% off your first order. And when you get your box in the mail, they'll give you a coupon for another 20% off your next order. So check it out. Go to builtbar.com. Use the promo code Locked On. I'm H. Town Wheelhouse, and I approve this message.
Alrighty. So speaking of approving a message, I'm looking at the Fangraphs, and they're projecting Yuli Gurriel to make a very big downturn. I know he already kind of did so towards the end of last year, but they're projecting him to only hit where is he? 16 homers with 65 RBIs and have bat 260 or 250 something.
Wow.
259. Yeah. So I was right about 260. So that's a big drop from the 2019 figure where he drove in 100 runs. And so this is a different guy. He is somebody who's a little bit older now. He is there as the veteran leader. He is the hopefully he can recover. Hopefully the playoffs, Yuli, that was because of his hand. He was having some issues with his hand. So maybe that was it. But I project him to maybe hit a few more homers, but mostly with the batting average. This guy is so clutch. This guy he may not get all those homers anymore, but when he gets into one, he can get into one. But he just didn't look comfortable at the end of the year. A lot of the Astros didn't look comfortable because, as Alex Bregman said, that was basically like spring training and then 30 more games, and then it was the postseason. So it's hard to get a really good gauge on the season, and it's hard to give too much credit to all the accomplishments. Like we talked about this about Tyler Bauer winning the Cy Young. Would he have won it if he had 10 more starts or something like that, 15 more starts throughout the year? So there's a lot of stuff that happened, and I think that the whatever happens in the 2021 season, hopefully it's a full season. What are you hearing about the DH? Are they going to have the universal DH next year? That'll open up a whole lot of jobs out there.
Yeah, and MLB's like, no, you don't need to expect universal DH. We're not going to do that. Why? Because, and it was floated to me, and I'll give credit to MLB Podcasts. I was interacting with them, and I think it might be Sully. I'm not sure. It's either Sully or Gabrielle. But I said, hey, why don't they want this? What's going on? It's going to limit the market. And they said, well, Manfred is probably going to use it as a chip, as a poker chip to play when they go to the CBA. And he's going to use it as basically an extra weapon to use against the players, because he's going to dangle universal DH over their head and take something from them. So he's going to give them something so he can take something away. That's how he's going to work. I mean, it's kind of like playing poker. You don't like show your hand. You don't tell people what's in your hand. And so why would he give up the universal DH when he can use it as a bargaining chip in the 2021 CBA, which frightens me to death. Like, the whole collective bargaining agreement, the whole conversation, the meetings, to me in my head, it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a you-know-what show. And that's what makes me nervous. But, who knows? Let's say Major League Baseball has a somewhat successful comeback next year because they're talking about letting fans come in, Eric. I mean, they want fans in the stands, where like the NBA saying no, the MLB saying yes. I think the MLB did that in the World Series to try it out, see how it worked, and it seemed to have worked. I haven't heard of any breakouts other than Justin Turner going out on the field foolishly. But I haven't heard any fan breakouts or, fans had to quarantine because they were at the World Series. So that maybe that changes things, but then again, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think universal DH is going to be here eventually, but they're going to hold on to it as long as they can because the players want it.
So looking at the pitchers for the Zips, I just wanted to go back to this for 1 second. Justin Verlander is expected to make 23 starts with 11-7 record. They don't take in consideration injuries or anything like that.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask you about this for a very astute website, Fangraphs, very respected.
It's computer. It's computer generated. This is not somebody coming out. This is just them running numbers, running projections. So this is just
Justin Verlander. So you know what? I don't even want to talk about Justin Verlander because that's just depressing. Forget that crap. And they even have Osuna on here.
And they even have Aaron Sanchez on here. That's classic.
Yeah. So let's look. They have Framber Valdez at 9 wins. Where do they have Christian Javier?
Probably 2 wins.
Seen him. But see, Christian Javier, I think, is going to be a key player this year.
He's going to have 6. He's going to have a 6-7 record with a 5.33 ERA.
You know what? Wait, okay. Who did you say was going to have the most wins this year?
I said it would be. I said that Javier would have more wins than Valdez.
Okay.
I didn't say most wins. I said more wins.
He would have more wins. So who do you think of our pitchers, of Greinke, McCullers, Valdez, Urquidy, and Javier, who do you think leads in wins this year?
Just to mess with your head, I'm going to go with Framber Valdez. So anyway, no, it's got to be Greinke. I think that he's kind of found his groove in Houston, and he's going to be looked at as the ace of the team. I know Lance McCullers would have something to say about that, but I think with his performance last year, I think Greinke is number 1, McCullers is number 2, and or maybe even Valdez number 2 and McCullers number 3, just to get that lefty in the middle. But that's spring training. That's like so CBA down the road from us, and there's just so much to discuss about. But any big news, any big signings that you know of? I'm pretty sure that George Springer isn't coming to Houston, but I saw today that he's not going to the White Sox for sure. I've heard it's like the Blue Jays and the Mets. I don't know who's going to be.
So here's the thing. So here's an interesting twist with Springer going to the Blue Jays is that they're talking to Mike Fiers. And there is no way this side of heaven that Springer agrees to go to the Blue Jays if they sign Mike Fiers. And I actually tweeted that out. You obviously don't want Springer that bad if you want Mike Fiers on the team. I mean, if I was Springer and I saw that guy, I would punch his teeth in. I mean, if he doesn't have that article, if he doesn't do that interview, it changes everything. It changes everything. I think that I think that the Houston Astros are still going to be some big players in at least one or two people. I think it's going to be a relief pitcher and someone in center field. Um, and I really hope they get someone like Jackie Bradley Jr. I really hope they announce that they're going to keep Brantley. I just don't know that they can afford to go that route at this point in time. Um, yeah. Hey, what's up, Eric? Um, I just totally lost my train of thought on what I was going to say.
Yeah, I was having
You
technical
take over.
issues and then blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm very angelic today, if you can't tell, with my little
You
Christmas
are.
tree behind me. So yeah, this could be odd off season. This could be a slow off season. The Astros do have two big needs, two big shopping lists for this off season, and that's going to be outfielder, at least one outfielder, and at least one reliever. I don't think they go out and get a starter. I think that they'll wait till after Zach Greinke's gone after the season, and I think that they'll kind of worry about that then. Now we got too strong of a rotation. Uh, I guess you can say we have pretty strong rotation depending on what Christian Javier does. And Josh James is in the wings waiting. You've got some young arms like Brandon Belak, some other people that you can kind of give a chance. Luis Garcia, I believe his name is. Maybe he gets a few starts here and there, but it's all about the outfield, and the infield is all set. The catching is all set. But I know that you pointed out that Martin Maldonado was saying, "Oh, I want to." I mean, he was asking the Royals
Well,
if they need help or something.
yeah, he was. Yeah, he totally he debunked that whole thing. He was just he mentioned it in jest. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
But I mean, I was kind of like, what the heck, dude? Why would you do that in today's social media world,
If
where
it,
everything's a hyperbolic
yeah,
chamber? You know?
if he thought that he heard a rumor that Rio Muto was coming to the Astros, maybe then he'll be like, "Oh yeah, peace out."
Oh yeah. Kind of like our buddy Buster Olney pulling a Ken Rosenthal and like saying that the Phillies are wanting to deal Zach Wheeler, and then the president's like, I wouldn't trade Zach Wheeler for Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle or Mike Schmidt, and he went on and on and on, and so he had to retract his story. I kind of feel bad for these national guys, man. They keep having to retract these big stories, but one thing that did happen is the Angels actually signed a relief pitcher from the Reds today. And it was, I think, a pretty
It
significant
was a
signing.
trade. It was a
Oh, I'm
trade, right?
sorry. Well, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it was
They,
Raciel and Glacius, and
yeah, I
they
mean,
give up Noe Ramirez, which is
yeah,
nothing. But in
mm-mm.
Glacius, it was a great closer, but the past couple of years, he has not been reliable.
He hasn't. He hasn't. But I don't know what they're going to do with him when they get here. But he's better than Ramirez. And I was reading some quotes from the Angels' new GM, and he's like, "We want to win now. We don't want to wait till later. The time is now." And so, look for the Angels to do some other moves. And we can talk about the AL West down the road, but I'm thinking that they're going to make some moves and probably surprise some people on who they pick up because they want to win in 2021. They want to compete for the AL West.
I think what we should do is go ahead and look at the Angels team on our next show and see if they have what it takes to win in 2021, the AL West, because that's all they would win. And finally get Mike Trout to the playoffs without having to do some type of all-star draft, add a player, add a, what do they call that? Where you add somebody who's not
Alternate.
supposed, no, not alternate. It's like, when you like your teacher squad and you get some big leaguer to come play for your team or something like softball
Right.
league.
Or, yeah,
Um,
I mean, or, next show we can talk about Rob Manfred wanting to introduce Ghost Runner on second. I'm sure he's got something like that up his sleeve this year.
yeah. So, guys, that's all we got for tonight's Locked On Astros podcast. We'll be back on tomorrow night. We'll talk a little bit about the Angels and do they have what it takes with El Papa Jose, I mean Albert Pujols and Mike Trout and all them. Do they have what it takes to win the AL West? Do they have pitching? That's the big question there. All right, that's all we got. Don't forget to go check out the Locked On MLB podcast, and we will see you tomorrow.